The Dallas Cowboys have long been a team built on pride, tradition, and big personalities, but for the past couple of seasons, there's been one glaring issue that fans couldn't ignore: the defense. For all the flash and firepower of the Cowboys' offense, their defensive unit had started to look soft, inconsistent, and at times completely overmatched. That reputation is now changing in a big way because Dallas just landed one of the most feared defensive tackles in the game, Quinnen Williams. This move doesn't just patch a hole on the roster, it completely changes the energy and identity of the team. The Cowboys' defense just got mean again, and Williams is the driving force behind that transformation. When you talk about Williams, you're talking about a player who brings pure dominance to the interior line. He's a mountain of a man who plays with violent hands, elite leverage, and the kind of motor that forces double teams on nearly every snap. Even when opponents scheme specifically to neutralize him, he still finds ways to wreak havoc. That's the sort of player who can shift an entire defensive front. For Dallas, whose defense had been shredded by opposing running backs week after week, this was the kind of statement acquisition they desperately needed. Opponents had grown comfortable attacking the middle of the Cowboys' line, finding easy lanes, converting third and shorts, and wearing down the defense late in games. The addition of Quinnen Williams changes all of that immediately. Now, when teams try to run the ball between the tackles, they're met with a wall of strength and aggression. Williams isn't just a run stopper, he's a disruptor who collapses the pocket and forces quarterbacks off their rhythm. For years, Dallas has relied heavily on its edge rushers, hoping that star pass rushers could bail them out, but the problem was always the same: if the interior didn't generate push, quarterbacks had too much space to step up and escape. Quinnen Williams erases that comfort zone. He brings power, balance, and versatility that forces offensive lines into chaos. The moment he steps on the field in a Cowboys uniform, everything changes: the way opponents block, the way coordinators call plays, and the way Dallas approaches each defensive series. This trade also signals something far bigger about the Cowboys' mentality. For a long time, critics accused Dallas of playing it safe, holding onto draft capital, and banking too much on potential instead of production. Trading valuable picks for a player of Quinnen Williams' caliber tells the league that Dallas isn't just planning for the future, they're trying to win right now. It's a bold, aggressive, win-now move that screams urgency. The message from ownership to the locker room is clear: no more waiting, no more excuses, no more hoping someone steps up. They went out and got a proven monster who's ready to make an immediate difference. That kind of decision can ripple through a team's psyche. When veterans in the locker room see that management is willing to pay the price to bring in a difference maker, morale rises, focus sharpens, and belief starts to grow. Williams doesn't just improve the defense statistically, he improves it psychologically. Suddenly, everyone knows they have a chance to compete at the highest level again. You can already feel the culture shift, that renewed edge, that swagger returning to the Cowboys' defense. Fans have been begging for this for years: a defensive identity that matches the team's offensive firepower. Quinnen Williams' impact goes far beyond the stat sheet. He's not the type of player who needs to rack up 10 sacks to prove his worth. His influence is seen in the opportunities he creates for everyone else around him. By demanding constant double teams, he frees up Dallas edge rushers to get more one-on-one looks. Players like Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence thrive in those situations, and you can expect both of them to see their production rise immediately. Williams' presence forces offenses to pick their poison, double-team him and let Parsons run free off the edge, or focus on containing Parsons and allow Williams to eat up your center and guard all game long. Either way, Dallas wins. This type of synergy is exactly what elite defenses are built on. The best defensive units in football have a way of feeding off one another, each player amplifying the other's strengths. With Williams in the middle, the Cowboys can finally create that kind of synchronized chaos up front. And beyond his raw strength, Williams brings incredible technique. His hand placement, leverage, and balance are textbook examples of what coaches love to see from a defensive lineman. He plays with a blend of intelligence and aggression that makes him nearly impossible to block consistently. Watch his film, and you'll see a player who anticipates movement before the snap, reads blocking schemes in real time, and adjusts mid-play to blow up the design. He's not just powerful, he's surgical. What's fascinating about this move is how well Williams fits into the Cowboys' current scheme. Dallas has been trying to transition into a more multiple front system, blending 4-3 and 3-4 looks depending on down and distance. Williams is the perfect hybrid piece for that. He's stout enough to play as a traditional nose in a three-man front, but explosive enough to thrive as a three technique in four-man sets. That versatility gives Dallas enormous flexibility in how they disguise pressures and align their front. For defensive coordinators, that's a dream. You can line him up next to Parsons on one play, slide him over the center the next, or even run stunts that put him outside to confuse protections. His ability to adapt allows Dallas to become far more unpredictable. And when your defense becomes unpredictable, you force offenses into mistakes. Quarterbacks start to rush their reads. Linemen second-guess their assignments. Running backs hesitate on their cuts. Those small moments of hesitation are where great defenses make their living. But what makes this move so compelling is not just the X's and O's, it's the attitude that comes with it. The Cowboys have often been accused of lacking that gritty, blue-collar toughness that defines great defensive teams. Quinnen Williams brings that attitude in spades. He's known for his relentless motor, his love for the grind, and his infectious energy. Teammates often describe him as the type of guy who makes everyone around him tougher just by example. He plays like every snap is personal, and that kind of mindset spreads fast in a locker room. Dallas fans who remember the hard-hitting, take-no-prisoners defenses of the 1990s will see shades of that era in the way Williams plays. He embodies that old-school physicality, that unrelenting will to dominate, but with the athleticism and finesse of the modern game. It's the best of both worlds, the nastiness of the past, fused with the precision of the present. In the end, this trade will be remembered as a defining moment for the franchise if it all comes together. If the Cowboys' defense starts smothering teams, if their run defense improves, if their pass rush starts dominating again, people will point back to this move as the turning point. And even if there are growing pains, the long-term outlook remains bright. Williams is still in his prime, and his best football might be ahead of him. He gives Dallas something it hasn't had in years, a true defensive identity anchored by a player opponents genuinely fear. That fear changes everything. It forces offensive coordinators to stay up late game planning around him. It forces offensive linemen to rethink how they communicate. It forces quarterbacks to make quicker decisions. That kind of influence can't be overstated. Quinnen Williams doesn't just play defense, he bends offenses to his will. For a Cowboys team looking to reclaim its place among the NFL's elite, that's exactly what they needed. This is more than a trade, it's a transformation. The Cowboys have found their enforcer, their tone setter, their new cornerstone. The defense is mean again, the swagger is back, and with Quinnen Williams leading the charge, Dallas might finally have